My name is Tiffany Gordon. I am a PhD candidate in philosophy at Dalhousie University. I work in philosophy of race, feminist philosophy, and social and political thought. In my dissertation, I am examining the over-incarceration of Black and Indigenous people in correctional facilities across Canada. On this project, I worked as a research assistant and also conducted interviews in partnership with iMove. Before we get to the interviews, we should say a word about our sponsors. The Mobilizing Partnerships Project was made possible by a grant from Public Health Agency of Canada's Promoting Health Equity, Mental Health of Black Canadians Fund. In this short film, we witnessed the testimonies of people who have firsthand experience with the criminal justice system and some of the challenges that they have faced with reintegration and their mental health. We hope that the film will provide insight into how the criminal justice system functions and the kinds of supports that are needed to help those who are reintegrating to community.
So what got me here today to talk about the film and be interviewed basically is I did some stuff back then, and it was a attempt murder charge with assault with a weapon, and it was also a resisting arrest. That was when I was 15, when I just turned 15. I always imagined me being a good kid, but until circumstances arise, you don't know what you're gonna be. As soon as they find out you're incarcerated, they're like, oh, you're a criminal. But it's all perspective. To me, I'm a decent person that just messed up. But to you, I'm someone who went AWOL and stabbed someone. They don't see that I have a little sister. They don't see that I have a pet dog, tiny toy poodle. And they don't see any of that, and they don't see how comical I am. They see a criminal because that's what it says on my file.
There's nothing catered to for us. The biggest thing was the month of February. Like I was in the minimum, Dorchester minimum, and we do have an ethic room where it's mainly for blacks, but then again, we don't discriminate for anybody. Anybody can come in, and we have a TV in there and a video, like we can watch movies and stuff like that. So it would be nice to have more, like even somebody to speak to, like, you know what I mean? Somebody of our own race to speak to. Say when you're frustrated or whatever, you can have somebody to go rant to, somebody that will listen to you, or you know what I mean, and can offer you some ways to help you, you know what I mean? That would be nice. Life's been tough, so yeah. At times, the suicide thing has crossed your mind, you know what I mean? But, it's all about dealing with it and being strong with this. It's one of those things where you just don't, men don't speak about that stuff, you know what I mean? We don't, you know what I mean? Because then it's just something we keep to ourselves, you know.
The big thing was that we're not supposed to have fun in there. It's not supposed to be relaxing or a place where we would want to be. So they did everything so that we supposedly never wanted to come back. Not that they gave us the tools not to come back. They tried to give us the fear not to come back, right? They wanted to scare us into, like, this is what life is in jail. And, but they never gave us the tools not to come back. Because of my criminal record, which, there's that little box at the bottom of all applications, do you have a criminal past for which you have not been pardoned? when I had to check that box, it made it really difficult for me to find a job. Like, okay, so being a woman of color, a person that had a criminal past, I went on the bottom of the hire list, okay? We've got the just graduated, new, fresh, young people just out of college. We've got that pile, and I've been on hiring committees, so I've seen the process. And at that point, I was desperate. At that point, I was like, if I don't get a job soon, I'm just gonna say, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here or not, but I'm just gonna say fuck it and go back to my life, my old life that I knew, right? Which happened so much just because you can't get a job, you can't get an apartment, you can't get a, all of those things that the privileged people may already have as far as a past rental history or past job history. My past was nothing like that. So I'd like to see a time when that won't be necessary. I'd like to see a time when the justice system actually becomes a justice system and not a just us system. Right? Yeah.
I was raised by my dad's mom, so I was raised with like my African side of the family. So, but I mean, like at the same time, I wasn't really educated about anything to do with like Black history or anything like that. I still don't quite know as much as I probably should. The school that I was, like my elementary school that I was in, there was only like a couple Black kids in the school, so we never had like anything, like any teachers or anything to like teach us about anything about our history. So I just recently started learning about it actually when I went to jail. So it was different growing up, like not being like educated about it enough, I guess, to know why I was being treated different, but like looking back on certain situations now, it's like kind of clear why I was being treated different, I definitely think like people could benefit from having programs, where it brings people together just of that culture so you can feel more like connected, I guess. Like just because when you're in there, you already feel like you're just a bunch of caged animals, right? Like they do a pretty good job at making you know that you're just a criminal. To have like some type of program, or really doesn't even matter what it is, but just to get out with that group of people, you know what I mean, where you can feel some type of connection and some type of, I don't know, like equal, like, it's because like they're so quick to throw you in there and slap you with a sentence, but while you're in there they don't really help you with anything to like learn how to be different when you get out. They just kind of throw you back out there and act surprised when you come back.
Main reasons for reoffending are being desensitized to the situation you're in, where you absolutely don't see anything wrong with what you're doing because you just grew up in it and it's the normal. It's actually normal. So the system needs to identify that a person might think it's normal. Not that they're wrong, not anything. It's how you come up. We're in survival mode right out the gate because they're not giving us programs. They're not giving us nothing. It's just like taking a 3-year-old kid, he's just sitting there playing, and then he, I don't know, knocks a Lego building down. They're playing Lego, there's 4 of them, and he knocks it down. Then you just grab him and fire him in the corner. And then 3 hours later, you just say, okay, come out and play. You need to talk to him and he needs to understand, okay, not about what he did. Why did you do it though? Like, why did you knock that, why? You all were playing, why did you do it? Break that down with him. Help him or her decipher what they're doing. Programs and supports built by us. And us as in, us Blacks, us as in convicts, us as in down on the level passionate about change and not just, oh, there's money out there, boom, okay, boom, let's grab that money. And then programs become a one and done instead of, building into something greater. I have over 13 years incarcerated. Now, if I can cut somebody's time from being 5 years to not making that bad decision, I'm happy with that. If I can cut a life sentence, somebody that's about to shoot someone and they say, you know what, I'm not gonna shoot him, I'm just gonna beat him up. And you gotta respect that, because that's where they're at in that point in time. At least they didn't take a life. So right then they're in transition. They might not even realize it. They're like, oh, why did I just beat him up instead of shooting him like I would normally, you know what I mean? Desensitized from society, why I would normally do instead. So if I can just do anything like that, I'm happy with it.
I grew up with little to no mental health support. That caused some complications for sure. I endured extreme bullying due to growing up with disabilities, and that's one of the reasons that I'd like to become an inclusion worker. My 2 children were put into care. Again, I had gotten them out of care, they were put into care, and then my mental health really declined. And I had kept going to the hospital because I was scared and paranoid and having a lot of trouble, and they kept just dismissing me and sending me off with an Ativan, which was not helping me. I later learned that I got diagnosed with non-specific psychosis. My charge, was a suicide attempt. I didn't understand that I was having psychosis and I was having auditory hallucinations, and it got to the point where I tried to kill myself. It was an awful process because during the whole incarceration period I was still hearing voices, and in the MIOU they increased a medication that was not working for me properly, which made me even worse. It should be trauma-informed and safe so that people can feel secure enough to be able to grow and flourish and develop, because if you're stuck in survival mode, you may not be able to obtain that as easily as if you had a supportive environment or supportive community or just, people in your corner.
Very wonderful.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. I mean, I feel like a lot of change can be made, and if people don't speak up about it, then, what's gonna happen? Somebody has to speak up about it. So I feel like it's a really good thing what you guys are doing.
Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you as well.